I think it is finally time that we show you guys how to correctly freeform streaks on FAR. Yes, this is going to be the beginning of the leaking of my freeforming game plan from Gridiron Game Plans. I know a lot of you guys are searching for something to keep the game alive for you. I know a lot of players out there are frustrated with the KO meta, especially the zones out there that are breaking on throws with eyes in the back of their head. I'm gonna show you guys everything you need to know over the next few videos. This video gets 200 likes. I will drop you guys the how to against zone and zone KOs. This is arguably the most important topic that you guys will need to know, but we're going to start off today with how to freeform streaks. A lot of players basically only use streaks as throws that they'll make if it's a blown coverage over the top. Otherwise, streaks are pull routes for players. One of the things I've said over the last couple months is streaks are pull routes for some, they're primary routes for me. I have been throwing streaks all year on FAR freeform setting, and I know that's a scary thought for a lot of you, the idea that you might have to switch from near to far, but I'm telling you, you're only a week away from being the best version of yourself on this setting and really unlocking the potential. Another thing I tell people all the time is that near is easier to learn. It's one of those things that's got a higher floor as a passer, but far has a much higher ceiling because it can do everything near can do, albeit with a little bit more user error worked in, but the reward is a much higher ceiling as a passer because you can make throws that literally no player can make on near. With that being said, let's get into the exact settings that I like to use and explain the logic for why I use them. Cat's out of the bag already. I'm on FAR. I do run placement and accuracy. This is the most commonly used setting. Use this because you can get those blues that everybody talks about for dead eye throws and kind of make everything perfect if you know how to hit your meter correctly. Now, as far as your freeform reticle speed goes, this is a hot topic for a lot of players. I'm going to tell you right now, it depends on what your quarterback's release is, okay? So when you have a player that has a gunslinger ability, that makes their windup go just a little bit faster. And when that happens and your quarterback's release is faster, that means there's less time for you to drag the reticle, or basically a reticle is where you're throwing the football, that little pinpoint. If you have a fast windup, you have less time to throw the reticle further away from the receiver. Whereas if you have a standardized normal wind up, you have more time. So basically, the longer the release, the lower the reticle speed needs to be. For me, I think the sweet spot is 17. I would start off at 17 for every release. And if you feel like you're overthrowing it or underthrowing it too much, you can go ahead and, slow it down. If you feel like you're not getting the reticle far enough away from the receiver to give you the animations you see in this video, you might speed it up a little bit. Totally up to you. Quarterback release matters in a big way. So I'm going to show you guys here. I'm going to use kind of everybody's favorite quarterback. And actually, to be honest with you, I'm using this Patrick Mahomes right now. Traitor! And I'll be real with you. I am not freeforming nearly as well with this Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's going to feel a little bit different with every quarterback, but this Mahomes will kind of be our barometer. I'm going to be running him with Gunslinger. It's free. And I'm going to be running Gift Wrapped. Gift Wrapped is really the only ability you have to have for this to work. And honestly, you don't have to have it, but I would argue for 1 AP you should. Now, if you guys truly want to know my favorite release in the game, it is actually the Justin Herbert Warren Moon release. Okay, so I've got a cheap Justin Herbert that I'm going to use. This is kind of my comfort card. Really, it's the release that I've been using all year long. I used Warren Moon's first legend and then basically went to Herbert, and then I went to Warren Moon's next release, and now I'm on the Mahomes due to AP setup. But to be honest, I've been feeling like I want to go back to this release because I'm just a better player with this release. Everybody has something that they gravitate towards. So the Justin Herbert release is kind of mine. As we set the foundation for how to do this, I want you to think about the thumbstick as a clock, okay? So I'm gonna hold up this controller. If you were to think about this thumbstick right here, this left stick, you are going to basically think of your pass leads as 4 different releases. You wanna throw them to basically 10 o'clock. You wanna throw them to 2 o'clock. You wanna throw them to 8 o'clock. And you wanna throw them to 4 o'clock. If you are wanting to throw a streak over the top and you throw it anywhere around noon, 11, or 1 on the thumbstick, you are going to overthrow everything, okay? I'm going to say that again. If you throw the ball on a streak between 11 and 1 o'clock, you will overthrow it. And this is what 99% of players say when they try far. So I'm going to nip that in the bud right now. That is the problem 99% of players have when they are on far. So what we're going to do here with this is we are going to practice back shoulder throws to the left. So if you're going to throw this as a back shoulder ball against man-to-man, you're going to be throwing an 8 o'clock pass lead. The only real thing you need to do is wait for the DB's hips to be turned. One of the things people don't really know is that man-to-man does not have a break on ball bonus. This allows us to throw these back shoulder throws and click on underneath of them. You want to see here, if we're throwing this as a back shoulder fade, we are basically putting the player on a streak or a fade, doesn't matter. And as soon as this DB's hips get turned, you are allowed to throw the ball. I don't want to say you have to throw the ball. You're allowed to throw the ball. You could wait until he's further downfield if you want. But I'm going to go ahead and throw this ball, and I'm throwing it basically to 8 o'clock. Again, if you were to think directly over his head is 12, this is coming into 8 o'clock. I am going to, as soon as the ball is out, I'm going to click on. So you see that the blue circle appears underneath of Calvin Johnson. I am still holding my thumb to 8 o'clock, so it starts to turn him around on a dime. And then I'm going to press Y to jump up and catch this. Meanwhile, this has created basically 5 yards of separation from the guy that's guarding him in man-to-man. I come down and I get out of bounds. This is the same throw to the other side, just mirrored. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to throw this to Flowers. So if I'm throwing a down and outside 8 o'clock to the left, if I'm going to the right, I'm going to throw it down and outside 4 o'clock. So we snap this ball, let him get even, throw it to 4 o'clock. Boom. Conservative catch or rat catch, totally up to you. In fact, you probably could have rat count that. So let's go ahead and do that here. So I'm going to throw again this 4 o'clock. And I'm gonna click on and I'm gonna go rack it. You see how I'm able to get outside and go. Pretty simple. Of course, I've thrown arguably tens of thousands of these since the game came out in August. I mean, it's just something I've lived on all year long. You run man, you get a back shoulder fade. It's really that simple. Now, depends on what formation you want to call, but, you know, I could do this out of a variety of different formations. If I wanted to, I could, you know, run a little bunch compression here. Now, the cool thing about this is you could actually do this to any player on the field out of really any formation. And that's what makes this weapon so big. If I want to audible down into some sort of compressed formation, I can still throw this to Megatron. Now, again, leverage is still kind of important. We'll get to, you know, throwing over the top here soon. But, you know, again, if I want to, I can still throw this and click on and attack this ball. And you see that I'm able to jetpack it in front of the DB, even though the DB was up and outside. Again, he might be up and outside, but I'm throwing the ball down and outside. So I'm able to kind of create that separation against man-to-man. Now, again, this is man-to-man. I want you guys to understand that. Some of you guys are going to go into, you know, the comments. You're going to say, hey, Zan, I'm doing this and the DB's breaking on the ball every time. I'm going to tell you right now, you're doing that against zone most likely, or if you're doing it against man, you're throwing the ball too early. But if you guys like this video, in fact, if this video gets 200 likes, I am going to drop how to do this against zone, and that includes zone KOs, okay? I'm telling you, I've been doing this all year long. I know how to throw these. And this is something that is such a skill gap opener to kind of take your opponent out of man. I mean, nobody can run any man blitzes against this. And then if you can start to do this against KOs, now all of a sudden your opponents are going to be kind of lost as it pertains how they want to play their zone coverage, because they can't just sit in a cover 3 and expect that they're going to be able to just have a deep KO do all the work for them. This is really, really important stuff, okay? Again, here, as it pertains this, you see right here, I'm letting this receiver run. I throw this ball. Now I'm going to bring up this little camera menu here so you can see what I click on. You see that as soon as this ball's out, I click on. I'm still holding down at 8 o'clock, so I turn him correctly into the path of the ball, and I'm able to cut it off so we don't get a break on ball and a pass breakup animation. So now that we've kind of shown you how this works against man-to-man, kept it real simple, just down and outside, now I'm going to show you what this looks like with Patrick Mahomes, because everybody likes the newest and greatest quarterback in the game, right? Well, unless your name's Zan, because this is not the easiest thing in the world with every quarterback. It's not the same. There's going to be little changes. So again, keep in mind that Herbert's release is a little bit longer. It doesn't have the gunslinger. I'm going to throw this with a gunslinger quarterback here with Mahomes, and I want you to see how different this is. Again, doesn't mean I can't do it, but you see, like, it's kind of a situation where, you know, there's a chance that they could, you know, maybe break it up. You know, the pass lead is a little bit different. You see how, like, I'm not getting the ball as far away, and like, because the release is faster, I can't drag that reticle nearly as far. In fact, if you were able to, like, go back and lay the Herbert release side by side with the Mahomes, you're going to see that the Herbert release is actually getting further away. So this would be an argument for me to actually speed up the reticle. If it's at 17 and I feel like I can't get the ball away from that player as far, I speed up the reticle so I have a faster reticle speed, which will make it go further away in the amount of time that I have to throw the ball. So this is why I said earlier in the video, you might want 17, but if you feel like, oh dang, the guy's still getting hit in the air, like that's kind of an indicator that you could do one of two things. Either take Gunslinger off and see how it feels, or if you want to leave Gunslinger on because everybody still likes to throw drags and things under pressure and you want the fast release, then you're probably going to be tasked with turning the reticle speed up. So that way, even though you have Gunslinger, the reticle's also going faster. So it kind of like brings them equal to one another. But again, all these same throws are basically possible. If I wanted to throw this ball out to Flowers again, I could throw this as a free form down outs. And there's a really good example right there. Like I just wasn't able to get that ball further away in the amount of time because his throwing animation to that particular area of the field is so friggin' fast. Now that would just be kind of a sign for me that like let him go further downfield. So that way I can actually throw it like that. A little bit longer release allows me to get the reticle a little bit further and then I'm leading him over the top. Now that was a perfect example. Again, most players, when it comes to free-forming streaks, they are quite frustrated by overthrowing. In fact, that, like I said, it's kind of the number one thing that I tend to notice when it comes to people that are learning the far freeform mechanic. And it's that they can't throw streaks over the top. I can back shoulder, but I can't throw over the top. So you see right here, this is the one that I screwed up. I tried to throw this to 4 o'clock and you see like the orange circle did not make it that far away from the gray circle. I mean, that just shows you it's too tight a throw. But then the next rep, I let him go further downfield and you see where that reticle is in relation to the clock. It's basically where I put that. If you were to draw a line from the middle of that gray circle straight through the middle of the orange circle to where the pinpoint triangle is, it's basically going through where the hour hand would be on a clock at about 2, maybe 2:30. It's not quite a 3 o'clock straight sideways lead. It's definitely more like a 2 o'clock lead. You see right here, that puts it in a spot where I'm actually leading the receiver into open grass above and outside of the inside low leverage of the DB, and I'm able to throw this up. So let's go ahead and go back and show you how to throw these over the top. Because again, this is super important stuff. So I'm going to go back to Herbert again, because I'm super comfortable with him. Got man coverage off alignment. We're just going to go ahead and throw up this streak to Megatron. So you see right here, as soon as he gets even with him, I'm going to throw this to about a 10 o'clock pass lead. And you see that I'm able to rack this, or right here, we get shoved out of bounds. If he doesn't get that animation, we're racking it for a touchdown. So again, this is kind of the same drill. It's just a mirrored. Again, it's up and out to 2 o'clock. It's up and out to 10 o'clock. It just depends on what sideline you're throwing. Again, the key pass leads are 10, 2, 4, and 8. If you live in that 11 to 1 range on the clock, you will overthrow it. So let me show you right here. If I want to throw this to like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, you're going to see that this is going to be typically overthrown. I mean, you see that actually ended up being an under pressure, so it ended up being completed, but you obviously where that ball was aimed, it would have been overthrown. So again, very important that you guys do not try to throw these between like 11 and 1, because you're going to end up missing these throws. And again, just don't want to miss your layups. And that's honestly what these throws become. They become 30-yard layups. You see the man coverage, you throw it, you click on, you attack the football, and now you're rocket catching. I mean, it's quite simple as long as your pass lead is correct. I think a lot of players are intimidated by this, but I'm going to make this easy on you. Again, if you guys want the zone complement to this, there's a lot to zone. There's a lot to zone. I want to start you off against man, but zone is going to start to get a little bit harder, and I'm going to make that super simple for you. If this video gets 200 likes, we will talk about zone coverage as well, and we'll talk about the KOs, because I got ways to avoid the KOs and use this freeform mechanic to kind of make your lives easier. This is going to be something you can run in any playbook, guys. I hope you guys like this video. I hope that it's met with enthusiasm. I understand a lot of you are going to want to stay on near for, you know, a myriad of reasons, but for those of you that are wanting to try something new, I think this can make the game new and fun and exciting for you. And if you guys don't want to wait, go over to Gridiron. I've got my full freeforming seminar over there on the website. I've got 9 other game plans, hundreds and hundreds of other vault tips, plenty more over there on the website. So go check that out if you guys are impatient and you guys want the whole deal. I'll see you guys in the Discord. Make sure you guys are members of our Gridiron Discord. Otherwise, I'll see you guys right back here on Monday with hopefully how to freeform against zone. Hit that like button. I'll see you then. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.